Thank you. Thank you so much, Miriam, for welcoming me with your warmth and appreciation. And thank you to Natalie, who's holding our tech space. I'll just add, Dan, Eric, and I we treasure you. We love you. We hope that your mom's love continues to bless you and light your way as you go forward. So friends, take a moment to thank yourselves for showing up to your practice. Thank each other for the gift of gathering to just practice our being, for this chance to remember that we are a part of this moment and we are a part of something so much bigger. Let's take our seat as we begin together. Your eyes can be open, closed, or anywhere in between. And let's just take a moment to land. So I invite you to take a couple of rounds of breath, just allowing yourself to breathe. Give yourself permission just to sit, uncertain about what lies ahead. For now, just notice where you find yourself in space, in physical space, in heart space. Just notice what you notice. Thomas Merton, a Trappist monk, said, "You do not need to know precisely what is happening or exactly where it is all going. You need to recognize the possibilities and challenges offered by the present moment and to embrace them with courage, faith, and hope." So I invite you along with me to accept this beautiful invitation to not know and still to cultivate some omets lev, some courage, some emunah, some faith, and tikva, hope. May our practice today be in service of our individual and collective healing. May we feel steady and courageous to turn towards the truth of our experience with warmth and compassion. When you're ready, feel free to open your eyes, or you're welcome to keep them closed. So one of the things that meditation offers me is the chance to practice here on my seat, on my cushion or chair, what I hope to practice out in life. And today I wanted to offer an invitation to build our capacity for courage, what we call in Musar, in Judaism, omets lev. And through our practice, we experience courage in the way we are present to what we're experiencing right now. Whether that's our ability to experience joy, sometimes that is an act of courage, or distress tolerance, or anything in between. So in working with our felt experience here and now, we can embody a form of courage that is not just about fixing and solving problems, but actually about sort of softening our instinct to fight and prevail over our challenge with a kind of soft and gentle confidence that whatever it may be, we can do it. And this week, our Torah portion offers us extra inspiration and invitation into this work. So Moshe sends 12 spies or scouts to explore the land of Israel. 10 of them convinced the people that it would be too difficult to conquer the land, while 2, Yehoshua and Caleb, are convinced we can do it. So Natalie, if you'll bring up the text, that would be great. We'll just take a quick look at the verses from our parasha. So we read, at the end of 40 days, they returned from scouting the land. They went straight to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community, and they made their report to them and to the whole community. We came to the land you sent us to. It does indeed flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. However, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the Anakites, these giants there. Caleb hushed the people before Moses and said, let us by all means go up. The Hebrew is really, we shall surely go up, and we shall gain possession of it, or we shall surely overcome, or we surely can do this. But the other men who had gone up with him said, we cannot attack that people, for it is stronger than we. All right. Natalie, you can take the text down. We don't need it. Great. So ultimately, God responds to the 10 spies' lack of confidence by pushing them, punishing them, and pushing them forward with 40 more years of wandering in the wilderness. So I think one of the questions that we can ask is, how can we prepare our hearts to continue journeying through our own wilderness with greater courage and faith and hope, so that we don't cut ourselves off or prevent ourselves from inhabiting our own promised lands? So often when I have a challenge before me, my mind immediately goes to the mode of figuring out how to solve the whole thing once and for all. But when I look at the big picture, I am often overwhelmed and confused exactly how to do this. So when I sit in meditation, I can easily be lured into that overwhelm. If I'm sitting for a longer period of time, like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, sometimes even 5 minutes feels overwhelming. How will I do this? But we don't actually sit for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 5 minutes. We sit for one moment at a time. And I don't even think this is like a cute mind trick. I think it's actually it's actually the truth. And that perspective can be really, really helpful. And the courage to sit with what I'm feeling and experiencing moment to moment is what we have this opportunity to train in. So as we meet boredom, distraction, discomfort, you name it, we can practice not screaming, not falling apart, not getting lost, coming back, not obsessing or obsessing and being compassionate with ourselves, all of these things. And we do this, of course, not just in the mind, but in this mind body that we are always inhabiting. So as we prepare to sit again, we take another couple of deep breaths to settle. Sometimes just allowing ourselves and giving ourselves permission to sit is an act of courage, to know that the world will keep turning, that our work will wait for us. To step off the hamster wheel is itself a courageous act. And you may want to use the phrase, I can do this, to prepare yourself for our practice today. So again, your eyes can be open, closed, or anywhere in between. Feeling our hearts beating, our lungs breathing. Just this. Allow the doors of the heart and mind to notice some things that you're worried about waiting on the front porch, front step. And rather than strategizing how to fix these difficulties, take a moment to just notice how they feel in the body. I invite you to leave the back door and the front door open, just allowing them to come in and feel and be felt. See where sensations arise and see if you can soften. Affirm that you can be with this sensation for just a moment. I invite you to stay with this courageous stance, moment after moment, breath after breath. And if you feel distracted, feel free to come back to the phrase, I can do this. We can do this. We'll take the next few minutes in silence, and I'll bring us back together with the sound of my voice. I don't know what comes next. I'm not sure how I'll get there. None of us do. And still, I can practice my ability to be right where I am, to remember that less resistance often translates to less suffering, to offer gratitude for the permission to pay attention to these uncertain spaces, places of in between, to wait patiently, to trust that the seeds that I've planted in my practice will take root and grow. You're welcome to keep your eyes open or closed as I share this poem with you. Leaving Egypt by Chagit Ackerman. Not with a mighty hand and not with an outstretched arm, and not with great awe and with no signs and with no wonders, but with hesitation in little steps, struck by darkness, with softness and with devotion and with intent and with precision and with love, carrying little marks like the wrinkles of passing time and of changing seasons, my changing body, pearls of my longing, leaving Egypt. Into our hands and hearts, we place gratitude for the chance to come together, to sit, to breathe, and to build our capacity for courage, faith, and hope. May our practice today continue to reverberate inside of us in the day ahead and the days ahead, reminding us that we can do it. One of the blessings that I find so moving each and every morning. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Blessed is the one who prepares our steps. Thank you so much for being here. I'll turn it back to Miriam.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for such beautiful teaching and practice. Very moving. Friends, we have the opportunity now for Kaddish Yatom for Mourner's Kaddish, after which those who would like to stay and are able to will have another 15 minutes to share reflections and questions for Jenny. If you're saying Kaddish, if you're in mourning, if you're thinking of loved ones, I invite you to put their names in the chat. And I also want to thank again Rabbi Jenny Solomon and Rabbi Eric Solomon for sponsoring today's sit in honor of Rabbi Dan Lieben's mother, Tzipora. Dan, I see that you're here. Our hearts are with you. And may your mother's memory be held in love and in blessing. All those who wish to stand for Kaddish, please rise. Natalie, if you can put the text in the chat, on the screen. And folks are welcome to unmute so we can hear each other and support each other in the words of Kaddish. Yitkada
Shmi Rabbi, שמי קודשה פריחו,
Risu
מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, אמירה בעלמא יראו אמן. שלום לך רבי שמאי וכן לבנינו, כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עשה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, כל יושבי תבל, יאמרו אמן.
Amen.
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 Tevel v'meru, amen.
Amen.
All their memories be held in love and in blessing. Everyone, if you need to leave us at this point, I'm wishing you such blessing for your day. And if you're able to stay, what an opportunity to spend some more time with Jenny and to be together in community. If you have a question for Jenny, please write in caps in the chat, question. And you can also raise your little icon hand if you'd like to ask a question. You can also share reflections in the chat. Maybe I'll begin. Oh, I can speak louder. Thank you for the note in the chat. Is that better? I think so. Okay. I was so, I'll begin, Jenny. I was so moved by the ways that you were teaching about courage. And I think so often in culture, courage and doing has a quality of push to it. Like, despite everything I feel, I'm going to push forward. And you offered such a presence and softness as essential to courage. And I wonder if there's more that you'd like to say about, like for me, what comes alive so much when I think about something challenging. You mentioned overwhelm, you mentioned fear, and I see the task ahead, and I know that whatever I'm feeling is anticipatory, because as you were also saying, I don't know what it will actually be like, but I have a thought in my head and in my full body. So I'm wondering if you can say a little bit more about your own experience of what is it that softening does that's different from pushing through?
Yeah, I'm feeling that all over again as you reflect it back, which feels good. I think that, when I think about like a hope, a goal, a desired outcome, I think part of the overwhelm is just knowing that not only do I not know how that's going to come to be, but it may not actually be entirely possible for me to produce that. And so, but with kind of a soft moment to moment lean in or lean in to myself, there actually I have some trust that I can be with this moment and the next and the next. And I am just in my own practice and my own life feeling more and more like these subtle seeds, these little seeds, or these sort of subtle turning towards what I hope for, what I want to step into, is actually much more powerful than I used to imagine. Less brawn actually makes for a little bit more of an easy path forward.
Beautiful. And you may have answered this. I see a question from Lori, but there may be other elements that you can speak to. Lori writes, I love learning from with you, Jenny. Thank you. I'm a bit thrown by the insertion of I can do this, which seems to fly in the face of willingness, openness, surrender to the I don't know, but I have faith and will sit with this. Would you please help with my dissonance about this?
So I think that, and I'm sort of drawing on the Torah text from this week, in which Caleb and Yoshua say, "Surely, like we can do this," and I think that we can do this can also mean we can turn towards this possibility with openness, with trust, with willingness, and that within this sort of I can, um, we can, we can right size ourselves. And it's not to say that we're sort of forcing anything, but rather that we can be open. We can trust the truth of this moment. We can meet this moment with compassion.
As I was practicing with it, I had an experience that I want to keep exploring, which was sometimes when I practice and I'm with fear, I do exactly as you were saying, that I feel it. I say, can I be with this, the intensity of this feeling, the textures of this feeling for the next breath? And then I take the next breath and so on. What I heard you add into our experience with that, I can do this, or we can do this, you offered us both, is a practice of putting us up against continuing to move forward. Like there are times that I can sit with my fear and that's all I'm doing. The fear arises and I'm with it. You gave us this additional practice of continuing to hold up for ourselves possibility and an intention of moving forward, whatever that looks like. So I want to, first of all, recognize that and really thank you for that. And I noticed that when I said, I can do this, more resistance arose. So it gave me the opportunity to keep working with it. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say in relationship with that kind of dance of presence with whatever arises and keeping that I can do that in front of us.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me, with us. Thank you, Miriam.
I see another question from Laura. Accompanying a loved one through a challenging time provokes in me an urge to help or advise, especially when asked explicitly or implicitly for help with suffering. Do you have any suggestions as to how to help someone just be with what they're feeling?
Yes, I join you. I want to fix and solve and do all the things too. So I've been listening and learning a lot about the emotional life of adolescence. But what I'm about to say, I think applies to all human beings. And this particular teaching, which comes from Lisa Damour, is to ask the question, do you need me to hear you, to hold you, or to help you? And sometimes when I ask myself that question, even if I don't actually say it out loud, although with adolescents, it's actually a really good idea, I'm learning. But even just to ask myself that question before I sort of jump in, it reminds me that all of these modes of hearing and holding and helping, they're all different ways of being present with another person. And just reminding me that the power of hearing somebody's experience, holding somebody's experience, is often helping somebody. So I put that out there. It's a place of continued practice for me as well.
That takes me back to what you were saying earlier about offering that I can do it and we can do it. As soon as you said we, something different kind of dropped into my body. And I find that so often when I'm in fear or doubt or overwhelm, I feel very alone, and enclose myself, sort of feel like I should be able to do this on my own, or I forget how connected I am. And just with that relational piece, I think so often it changes our whole relationship with overwhelm, with fear, with shame about struggling to do whatever it is that we have as a challenge in front of us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm grateful for that addition.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I feel like so movingly every time I have the chance to sit with all of you, to sit with others in community. I mean, this is a practice certainly that we can do on our own, which is amazing that we have that. But when I sit with other people and feel that sense of we, I know we're all going through unique experiences, but there is something about the we that is in truly, truly just elevating and nourishing. Um, yeah, and I'm thinking about it also in the context of this country, America, that's embarking on an election season, dreaming into my own hopes for this country and the direction that it takes. I'm, of course, thinking about Israel and her neighbors. Um, and again, it's just, as you said, Miriam, like it's easy when my own hopes come into focus to feel alone, to feel somewhat overwhelmed or intimidated. But when I can remember that there's always a we, um, it feels more possible.
Mm. Pauline writes here, is it, excuse me, sorry for the, the alarm. Is it more a matter of resolving to start rather than convincing ourselves we can? Because we are always unprepared, and if we start the first step, the next step becomes clearer.
I love that. I love that so much, Pauline. And perhaps, I mean, you said that more beautifully than I could, but I think that's kind of what I was feeling in wanting to close our practice with the prayer for Hamichim Mitzadei Gaver, that you know, we don't get to know exactly the next step or where all those steps will lead, either as individuals or as some greater collective. But the idea that we do have some agency around how we take that, the spirit with which we take that step, um, that that feels really true and important.
Beautiful. I see a comment from, where did I see that one? From Michael. He writes, capitalism acculturates us into a fast-paced can-do and soundbite culture. The counters are more humane pacing, observing, reflecting, trusting of process. I wonder if you have any thoughts about that.
Agree.
There's a lot of dis-ease in our culture. And I loved what you said about, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but something about less resistance. There's less, when there's less resistance, there's less suffering. And there's sort of the side of capitalism pushing us through and kind of taking on a stance of kind of artificial.
Yeah.
And it's also, it makes sense that for those who can push through, there's the push. And for many of us, what arises in response, in reaction, is a lot of resistance. And I heard you inviting us into an experience where we disarm the resistance.
Yeah. And I think that is for a person like myself who's likes rules and is not particularly rebellious, I take a little extra measure of pleasure in the fact that this practice is so subversive. And it's quiet, and I don't have to sort of wave a flag about it, but it does feel very countercultural.
Yeah. I think we have time for one more question. Lori asks, is there anything in Jewish practice teaching that asks us to shift from brain to body in feeling, metabolizing, learning? So much wisdom in my body, so much trauma and joy integrate, worth paying attention to, I think.
Oh, Miriam, that question is for you.
Well, I think so much of it, it's a big question, and maybe in the 1 minute that we have left, so much of mindfulness practice invites us to move right into the body, because our minds are very clever at running ahead, spinning and perseverating, being in the future, being in the past, and direct sensation in the body allows us to do exactly what you were teaching, Jenny, about can I be here in this moment? And what can I notice are the resources available to me in this moment? As breath fills me and I invite in life breath that I didn't invent and is so sustaining moment to moment. And I can be with the sensations of fear. And if I can meet it in my body, in the sensations in this moment, there it is, I'm with it. So maybe that's enough for now, but thank you for that question. And thank you, Jenny, so much for leading us in experiencing it directly in our bodies and our beings. Thank you for your beautiful teaching and leadership. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you again, Natalie, for your tech support. What a gift.